Okay. It's very simple and very important for everyone in the family to learn about the volunteer work and the importance for that, for the family and for everybody serving society, serving community. We have just few minutes to start. Receive more audience, more youth, inshallah. Okay, we're gonna start with introduction about Aman Institute and about the guest speaker. Our guest speaker today is Mrs. Christy Young, representative of justserve.org organization, this nationwide and served locally here in Killeen area, Texas, to help in different projects in different places. We're gonna listen to that from her about serving community and how that serve for all members in the community and interfaith, go to all faiths, all cultures, all people that live locally here, regardless their faiths, their faith, their culture. They serve all in justserve.org, justserve.org organization. And this part of the program of Aman Institute, current program Tanweer program that serve for youth intellectual security, make awareness for youth. So today we have guest speaker, Mrs. Christy Young. We are waiting for more parents, for more families join us. I expect more, inshallah. So please remain and stay with us till the end of the session. It's gonna start officially 12:30 to 2 o'clock, 1 hour and a half, 2 sessions, inshallah. Let's make this introduction. Now we have 2 minutes to start, inshallah. Let me make the
Mamadou, what's the TV?
Mute.
Come on.
Please mute the sound, everybody, please. Just only the speaker and the moderator, please. Mute, please, everybody, mute. Everybody, please mute the sound. Just leave the speaker and the moderator, and you have a question, raise your hand at the end of the session. Raise your hand or write your question privately. Okay, so 1 minute, we're gonna start, inshallah.
How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. Got back from our trip.
Yeah, how was your trip?
It was wonderful. The wedding went well. Family, we had 4 family reunions.
Yeah.
Traveled through 11 states.
Oh, mashallah, amazing.
Burned up a lot of miles on the car.
No. Okay. Let's start. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. My greetings. This is Dr. Ihab Abdul Gawad, President of Aman Institute for Youth Intellectual Security Studies. Today we have guest speaker, Christy Young, gonna talk with us, part of the program, Tanweer program, gonna talk to us about volunteer work. But let me, before introduce the organization. Aman Institute is nonprofit organization works to promote intellectual, spiritual, and mental safety and provides solutions and counseling for those who concern with solving the problems of deviant thoughts that lead to addiction, violence, extremism, and life failure. Aman Institute has been established to help youth through professional programs in the 3 levels. Number 1, first level, intellectual security studies, research and studies about these issues that youth face in their life. Number 2, second, Tanweer Enlighten program. That current program started last month, and we have every month one event, one session to help the youth and session through awareness about safety for the family on the internet, measures to avoid pornographic traps, social media, cyber criminals, online dark web, risky video games, identity protection, and other behind the screen. Is very serious for parents and for youth to wake up and take care of the screen, what behind the screen. Number 3, or program number 3, for intellectual, mental, and spiritual therapy for whoever drop and fill in the problem from this. How can we take his hand out of that problem? Aman Institute is a promising project. Please support Aman Institute. For additional information, go to amaninstitute.org. amaninstitute.org. This is our website. Today we have part of the program of Tanweer program. Mrs. Christy Young. Christy Young is justservice.org representative for the Bell County and Lambesis County areas and this area. She is a recipient of the Air Force Spouse Service Award and a 2-time recipient of the Army Spouse Service Award with more than 10,000 hours of service, giving for military and community programs. Today we have 2 sessions. Session A, just serve, actively being a part of the community, 30 minutes and then 15 for questions. Session B, collaboration to select a joint interface service project using just service. Now I give the mic to Mrs. Christy Young to start their session. Yes, go ahead, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right. Yes, thank you for that intro. That's great. I am going to start a slideshow. Just a moment. Let me share my screen here. This one. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and present here. Okay. So the session is about actively being part of the community. So if you take away nothing else from today, this is kind of what I want to hit home. There are 3 steps in building a community which provides a happy life. It provides so many resources. It provides what we are looking for. So step 1 is what others can do for you. And step 2 is what you can do for yourself. And step 3 is what you can do for others. And so we're going to be going over this again a little later, but I just wanted to throw this out here of this is what I want the takeaway to be by the time we're done here. So first, defining community. Not really sure if everyone understands what a community is. It's a group of people. There are several things that can define a community, but one is when you're in the same place, right? So you are physically living in the same place, or you have a particular characteristic in common. This is like your siblings are your community, your parents. But then outside of that, the people that live right next door to you. These are the people living in the same place as you. Number 2, it could be a feeling of fellowship with others because you share common interests or goals. So a community could be a group of people that share the interests. So this group online, I know we are not all located right next to each other. None of you are my next door neighbor, but being in this group, we are all part of a community here. And so So this can be a community. It can be in your neighborhood or at school, the people that sit next to you at work. So I know Texas has a lot of Texas pride. We've been here about a year, and your state is your community. I know I feel a part of something when I live in Texas. This country, this wonderful country that we live in, you are a part of something. And then being in the world. So I think this is kind of what we want to focus on, that it's not just the people next door to you on a small scale, but we are global citizens. We are people that live in this world. All right. So now that we've defined what a community is, why do we want to be a part of it? For parents, we really want to, so I have 4 children, and I know I want to raise a fully functioning adult. That is my goal as a parent. I want them to be able to function and make a positive contribution to society. They need to be able to contribute. So that is why I would love for them to be a part of the community. The community can fulfill that. Teens, why would you want to be a part of the community? When you volunteer and you help in your community, you actually can gain new skills that can help you for the job market. And you can gain leadership skills and communication, dependability, time management. It's all there. So being a part of the community is very appealing for teens. As far as everyone involved, having a sense of community unites us. It makes us feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. It will connect you with other people who aren't the same as you. I know in the first slide, we talked about community being a group that has something in common, right? But being in a community can help you feel like a part of that. Before I moved to Utah, or before I moved to Texas, I was from Utah, and I didn't feel a part of the Texas community. But now that I'm here, it's great. I feel a part of it, and it's wonderful. So the first time that I felt a part of that I saw the difference in a community, my husband was in the Air Force, is currently in the Army. We got our first duty station. So we moved to Monterey, California, and we were issued a house. And when I drove into the neighborhood, I was so sad. I was just, all the yards were just dirt, and it was kind of a crummy place to live. Like, it just did not look very nice. But the houses were old and they had chipped paint. Luckily, they were really nice inside. So on the inside of the house, they were well maintained. But I found out that the housing office offers free grass seed. So if we wanted to go get some grass seed for free, we could. And so I went and got it, and I threw it out on my dirt. And I watered the grass seed every day. And some of my neighbors would chuckle and laugh at me and be like, "Why are you watering your dirt?" But I would go to housing again and get more grass seed and throw it out, because it takes a while for grass seed to grow. And so they also had the tools that you needed to maintain a yard. So I used their rakes, and pretty soon my grass started growing, and it was kind of green. And then people would stop and notice and be like, that's kind of cool looking. And let me advance to this next slide. Hang on a second. I think I skipped one. So this house right here, this is not a picture of our house. This was a one next door. So this one actually had some grass in the yard, but it was just all dead. But so this is what most of the houses look like. But so within about 6 months of me throwing out the grass seed and watering and trying to make it nicer, my other neighbors were noticing, and they're like, "Well, I want some grass seed." So I told them, "Go get it. It's free. Just go grab the grass seed." And so they would throw it out, and they started to maintain their yard. And pretty soon, like I said, in about 6 months, there were 6 or 8 houses that way down the street and 6 or 8 houses the other way that had green grass. And it just looked beautiful in our neighborhood. and everyone was so happy with it. So this was the before and after of one of the houses. I didn't get the shot of my actual house, but this is what it looked like. And then after people started making an effort and watering their yards and growing grass and planting flowers, then the housing drove through the neighborhood and decided to allocate some funds to paint the houses. And so everybody got a freshly painted house, and it just made our neighborhood a community. And it wasn't just about having green grass and a fresh painted house. It was that we felt pride in our community. We had a reason to go outside. We had a reason to, our kids had a place to play. They had the grass now. They could do cartwheels and hang out together. And it really contributed a lot to our sense of community. And they had lawnmowers that we could borrow to mow the grass. And if someone, because none of us owned a lawnmower, we couldn't afford it. And so we would go to the housing office and borrow the lawnmower and bring it down, and everyone on the street would use that lawnmower, so we didn't have to each go pick it up. But so when we left that housing development, they said, "Oh, did you enjoy your time here at Fort Ord?" And we said, "Of course we did. It was wonderful." And she said, "It's really kind of weird." She's like, 2 years ago, we had a really hard time filling the houses. She said, "We had so many vacancies." She said, "And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, this neighborhood just became beautiful and people started to care. And now we have a waiting list that's 6 months long to get into our houses." And I just kind of chuckled to myself, and I thought, I wonder if that was from what we had done, from just the simple act of throwing out some grass seed and trying to make your area the best, trying to improve your community. But it wasn't just my house, it was all the houses, and sharing that. So I don't know what these blue circles are. Do you guys see those? But so it says, Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And I think a lot of times we wonder, it's easy to move into a neighborhood like that and be like, "Oh, this place is so terrible," and just complain about it and be unhappy. But if you want it changed and if you want it different, then be that change. And so this brings me back to that slide that we started on, right? The 3 simple steps to building a community. And the first one is what others can do for you. And so the things that we receive from other people, a school, an education, public school, and there are so many educational things out here like this Zoom meeting. This is very educational and can help educate us. The others can do for you, community members and mentors, right? So there are people in your community that are more than willing to teach and to share what they know. Also, when you talk to experts in your community, or if you go online, there are so many things offered for free online that can help you, that others are willing to do to help you. And so then we move into this next category. After you have gained a lot of knowledge and done these things that other people have done for you, like the housing office offered that grass seed to us for free, and they offered things, we just had to go and get it, right? So now what we can do for ourselves is we did the work. You can work, and that is what you can do to help build the community. Going to school and getting an education, this is nice that other people are willing to provide it, but we have to show up and get that education. We have to make it a priority. The University of YouTube is an amazing place to be. I got a ukulele when we were in Hawaii, and I learned how to play on YouTube because there were so many people offering free lessons or instructional things. And so I just went on YouTube and learned how to play the ukulele. But that also falls under talents as well. These are the things that you need to do for yourself. It will help you build your community. It will help you find happiness if you build those talents, practice those instruments, learn the things in school, write those essays, do the things that you need to do, reading books, learning as much as you can is going to help build that community and build a sense of belonging and happiness. And then number 3, what you can do for others. So you'll notice there are a lot of the same things that are in this first column of what others can do for you. Because now that you are doing for others, you can volunteer. You can take those talents that you learned and you can volunteer to teach somebody else. So once I learned the ukulele, then there were my daughters and my nephew, and there was a neighbor that all were like, that's so cool. I want to learn how to play ukulele. And I was like, all right, come on over. Let's do this together. And I taught them how to play. You can mentor and teach those things that you have done for yourself. When my neighbor said, wow, your green grass looks so pretty. How did you get this? I didn't keep it to myself. I didn't say, oh, you'll never know. I said, hey, run over to the housing office and get your grass seed and let's share a mower, and you do it together. What you can do for others, just sharing what you have, right? Sharing not only what you know, but the things that you have. Also creating opportunities. So I noticed, so not very many people have their cameras on, but I noticed one of the cameras that's on is a younger brother and sister looking. So creating opportunities. One summer, my kids really wanted to do a summer camp, but like I said, I have 4 kids and I could not afford the summer camp. That was, whatever, $250 times 4 kids for the month. And it was just out of my budget. And so I decided to create an opportunity, not just for my children, but for all the kids in the neighborhood that were ages 8 to 12, the same as my kids. We invited them over and we did different activities every day. And we had our own summer camp. No one told me that I needed to do this. No one said, this is what you do when you can't afford summer camp. But we decided to create these opportunities for our children and the others around us. It was actually a really fun summer. I learned how to play Pokemon. And I don't know if you've ever played Pokemon cards, but there's some really intense rules to that. And so I learned how to play Pokemon and then turned around and taught every kid in the neighborhood, ages 8 to 12, how to play Pokemon. And it was just a blast during that month that we did Pokemon camp. And that is something that you can do for others. Take the talent that you have, take the education and the work that you've done, and now use it to help others. But I want to explain, it's not like, it's not that one. It is this one. So it's not like a circle, like others are helping you, you're helping yourself, and then you help others, others help you. It's not like a circle. It is like a spiral that goes up where someone helps you and then you can help yourself and then you help somebody else and it advances and then you teach the next generation and you've now become that number 1 slot that teaches the next group and the next. And sorry, let me keep an eye on the time. And so that's one thing that is really important to remember, that is not just about you. It's not this circle of happiness for Christy. It is a spiral for the community. All right. I think we already covered these, but I really liked this one. What we do for ourselves dies with us, but what we do for others and the world remains and is immortal. And that's kind of what that spiral is showing. That spiral is showing what you do, share it with others, and then now give it to the next person and to the next person. And then they in turn will learn and be educated and pass it to the next person. So this one, these charts, when we think of service, we kind of focus on how service. Sorry, we kind of focus on how service helps ourselves. We focus on how service helps the other person, but it also helps ourselves, is what I was trying to say. So these are two charts that show some researchers speculated that serving strangers represented high cost behavior, something that goes above and beyond. And so they wanted to know how this affected teenagers. And when teens engage in the sort of behaviors of service and reaching out to others consistently, they're less likely to focus on themselves and their own problems, and they're more likely to see the good in the world. So on this first chart, the way this chart reads, obviously self-esteem, gratitude, and hope, these are three different characteristics. The teens answered questions about feeling optimistic, grateful, and good about themselves on a scale of 0, not at all like me, 3, somewhat like me, and 5, very much like me, right? And so for those that reported high level of service towards strangers, they were closer to feeling the hope and the gratitude, and self-esteem was very much like them. And so I think the one I like a lot is this gratitude. As a parent, I like the gratitude bar because that's what I really want. I want my children to be grateful for the things that we're teaching them and providing for them. And it's so great when they feel that. But I think the one that matters the most for them is this self-esteem bar. When you see those who give service have higher self-esteem, this is one of those things that really affects the youth today. Self-esteem is hard to gain. It's hard to get. And being a part of the community and being out there and serving is going to help you get that. So this second chart talks about the frequency of aggressive behaviors, right? And so then they were asked questions, for example, like stealing, doing drugs, skipping school, and cheating. Those were kind of the delinquent behaviors they were referring to. So on the scale of 1 to 3, of 0 is never, 1 is rarely, 2 is sometimes, and 3 is often. So teens were asked as of, let me move my window over. So when they reported low service, they felt just a lot more aggression inside. I think that's something that is often expressed by youth now, is they're like, I don't know why, but I'm just angry inside. And when you look at the research that this group did, serving other people, serving those in your community can help suppress those feelings of aggression and anger. The feelings of not the feelings of delinquency, that delinquent acts and behaviors, some oftentimes come just from boredom, right? So service will fill your time. It fills your time with something productive to do, and those delinquent behaviors become less prominent. And so if we want to protect against those kind of thoughts and behaviors, giving service in your community is a great place to start. Let's see. I know that when I was in high school, I was part of the Key Club, which they do service, and they had different activities that we did. And the reason these two charts reflect like they do is because when you give service, you are now associating and becoming friends with people who have similar values and who have good behavior and who are not delinquent. And you're surrounding yourself with teens who have a moral identity. And that's what I saw in Key Club in high school, is that I was all of a sudden, my friends that I was hanging out with in the club were also people who wanted to do good, who wanted to reach out and fill their time with positive things. As a part of Key Club, there was a special needs organization that did different programs. And one of the things they did was music. And I volunteered to play the piano for their organization for a couple of years in high school. And it was really rewarding. It was one of those things that was, all I did was play the piano for an hour, but it was really rewarding, and it's something that stuck with me. And as youth, you need to realize the talents you're developing now are those that can help you and others later. And so you need to put that effort into learning, and so that you can share it. So this last chart, so what a community can do for you. There's a lot of research that has been done about communities and about service. And so when you are part of the community, it actually gives you that emotional strength and social support, emotional support. What volunteering in high school did for me is when I went to apply for jobs and was looking for something to do for occupation, they were very impressed with volunteer hours, because you're not just showing that you are about yourself. They're showing volunteer hours shows that you have moved into that third category we talked about doing for others, right? And it can also help increase your spirituality. And I will tell you, it helped increase my physical stature when I was raking the dirt every day and watering and doing all those and hauling the lawnmower and doing all those things to make that lawn wonderful. So there are so many, these are the aspects that make up our health and well-being, and being a part of community can help strengthen each of those. And so without community service, we would not have a strong quality of life. It's important to the person who serves as well as the recipient. It's the way in which we ourselves grow and develop. And I attribute a lot of what I am today to seeing my parents serve when I was younger, then serving alongside of them and doing it myself, and then reaching out and doing it for others. And I think it was really neat for me. So my mother was a baker, and I was a very chubby child because she was an amazing baker who had the most delicious sweets. But my dad was a mechanic, and because of that, I learned how to bake and I learned how to fix things. And now I can help people with those same things, but I do it without even thinking. I don't think, oh, I need to log my service hours because I just helped someone fix that. I just think, oh, that's just how people live, right? Because my parents were very involved in the community. Even though my dad worked, he owned his own business. And so he worked 12-hour days. But when he came home from work, someone in the neighborhood would say, hey, Wendell, my car's broken. Can you just have a look at it? He would just smile and say, sure thing. Let me just grab one bite of dinner first before I head over to your house. And he was just more than happy to serve anyone that he could. And I think as parents, we need to help be an example for our children of that community service. And I think as youth, we need to start taking the initiative to do it for ourselves, to see the examples of others, but then move into that second category of working, of what you can do for you, so that when you are older and ready, you can move into that third category of what can you do for others. Are there any questions? I think that's the time. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Christy. Yes, it is to the family, to the youth, being busy by serving others, serving yourself through serving others. You receive protection, receive fun time, receive good, social time. So it is very important to part of the community, part of the society, serving the society. Now the time for question. If anybody has question, raise your hand or write your question on the private chat. Yes, Brother Muhammad, go ahead.
Hello, thank you for the speech. I spent a little bit of time yesterday searching about the organization, and I found it very fascinating about the service that they are presenting. It's really impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here and guide us to this and introduce us to this amazing organization. I think I don't want to say a question. It's kind of a follow-up, and I would like you to expand on it. As we are parents, okay, we have we would love to volunteer, or we would love our kids to volunteer, but there is always a limitation. The limitation of being not seeing an immediate benefit for our kids and for ourselves go for volunteering. But we always dreaming about what my kids will be in the futures. How is that gonna benefit them? I'm sure you listed a lot of benefit for them. That was amazing. But I'm looking at it in a different angle here. I'm dreaming to get my kid to be engineering or a doctor or whatever that is. But I believe that the volunteer that the kids will have, or even us, will bring a sense of leadership and different experience to the personality that
Yes.
take them to a different level in their progress at the school, at the college, and they will see the world in a different eyes. For example, I will give you a life example. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, he always saying, if you don't have a different experience, you're not gonna make any difference. But if every one of us have the same exact experience, we're not gonna make anything new. Can you explain to us how that serving or volunteering will bring different experience in the personality of the child, and how that can benefit them in the workforce? Because we are most of the parents dreaming for their kids. They have to spend most of the time studying. They don't need to volunteer. Volunteer might be good, but they are very busy. But volunteering probably as important as schooling time. Can you expand a little bit more how that can help them in leadership, workforce, the way of thinking of planning their future?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that if you're going into the medical field, just to apply to anything, say if you want to be an EMT, or if you want to be a nurse, if you're going into anything, you need to have so many hours of volunteer. You need to have so many hours of medical experience. And a lot of that comes from volunteer that you have done in high school. Like when you're still living at home and your parents can provide a roof over your head, right? You have the time and the resources to go volunteer at that point. When you move out and you're in college and you're doing things more on your own, you kind of can't afford to just do stuff for free, right? And so when you're volunteering in high school and when you still live at home, that's a great time to build those hours and those things that you need for a career. So I know you have bigger dreams for your kids of being an engineer and a doctor. So this might not be the best example, but so I was applying for a job to be a fitness instructor is what I do. And I was applying for a job to be a fitness instructor. And it was a very coveted job because it made more than the other gyms in the area. So this one, most of the gyms paid about 20 an hour, and this one paid 30. And so there were a lot of applicants for the job. And so when they finally offered me the job, I was unaware of how many applicants they had. They said we had over 100 applicants for this position, and we only interviewed, and like I had to do a class. They tested me out, right? They said we only interviewed and tested 5. And I was like, oh my goodness, well, that makes me feel really great. And they're like, of those 5, you were the only one that had volunteer in this field. And we thought that would really round out the kind of employee that we want to have. And you are worth that extra. And that is why their organization, that's why their facility paid the 30 hour instead of 20, is because they had high quality instructors that were not just about showing up and getting the paycheck. They saw these different aspects of, well, if you're about community and volunteering, then we know you're going to care about our patrons, and we know that you're going to care on a different level. So no matter what field you're going into, I think that the organization will look at those volunteer hours and know that that says something about your personality. And there are many service opportunities out there that gave me experience over the years that I never would have had otherwise. We're going to be talking more in the next session here in about 10 minutes about some of these opportunities that we've had that are just great and different and have changed my personality and made me different than even my sister, who we grew up in the same house, but maybe she was not a part of Key Club and wasn't exposed to the same things as I was. And she's always asking me, she's like, how can you do so much stuff? And I'm like, I have no idea. I just did it, you know? Anyways, I don't know if that's exactly what you were looking for. But I will say, so there was one time when I volunteered, it was 2015, the Somalian refugees were coming over, and I volunteered to help teach math after school so they could kind of catch up and get to where the school systems had them. And I will say that was the most out of my experience, because I was from Utah. I had never met anyone from Somalia or any refugees ever. And now I'm interacting with these children on a daily basis and teaching them and communicating. And it changed me. It changed who I am. And it gave me a lot of experience and an edge over other people who were still trapped in a smaller mind frame. And so I think maybe that's what you're looking for me to explain what service can do.
Okay.
Let me respond. You hit the nail on the head. It's a life example for every parent to think about it. That's a very well answered. Thank you.
Thank you. There is a question from Yusuf Williams come on the private chat. He's saying, if I have to do community service hours, what are some good things to do?
Yeah, so there are tons of stuff. There is a lot of stuff you can do. Actually, let me just pull this up. So I'm still screen sharing here with you. So in the next session, we're going to be talking specifically about projects that are officially sponsored projects, if that's the way you want to look at it. These are just, I am a global citizen in the community kind of things you can do to serve. No one is tracking your hours for these things. And if you are looking to do community service, please stick with us through the next session. I will be going over some more specific things. But these are just little things that you can do as a small child, as youth, as to start the habit of serving. So it doesn't feel like, ugh, I'm doing this for free. Do you know what I could get paid to do this? Or There are just small things you can do. Like yesterday I was walking into the store and there was a little clear bag, like from the produce section that you put your produce in, that was blowing through the parking lot. It literally blew past my feet and I picked it up and I threw it in the trash can. That's something so small that you can do. But if you're not in the mindset of service and community, it might not even dawn on you to do that, right? I don't know if that's what you were looking for. I think it'll be answered in the next session a little more.
Okay. Is there kind of projects go with the character of the child, of the youth?
Yes, and again, that's what we'll be going over. The next one, there's a section where you can like highlight the things that pertain to your personality, right? And then you will be notified via email or whatever, or the projects will pop up that you have highlighted are part of something you would be interested in doing.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
It looks like we still have like 5 more minutes to this one. I just wanted to go over a couple of these really fast. This mowing all the way across. I'm sure, what is that, right? In a suburb area, when you live next to somebody, your grass butts right up next to each other. You share a grass. And sometimes when people mow, they will just mow that line just right down their property line. And my dad, this was something that stuck with me as a kid, that he said, you just mow all the way across. And because in the front section, there's the sidewalk, and then there's a small piece of grass before the street, right? And we passed a house that had half of that section mowed, and then it stopped, and then the rest was really long. And my dad said, if you are going to all the trouble to get your lawnmower out, just mow all the way across. And it will look better for your yard, it will look better for their yard, and then they will feel loved. But that is just an example of how it was just ingrained in him. And we can teach that to our children by showing them that you don't have to get paid to do these things. And I think the best example of community recently that we've experienced is my daughter was driving and her tire popped or deflated, whatever. It went flat. And so she pulled into a parking lot, calls my husband and says, hey, can you come help me change my tire? So he goes over and he was helping change the tire and the jack broke. And he was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And I'm sure someone saw him struggling, and this Native American man and his son pulled up in their truck and they're like, hey, how can we help? They jump out and he's like, I have a jack, we'll just use that. And then from the other direction, this African-American homeless man came up and said, hey brother, how can I help out? And my husband just felt so grateful to be a part of this community, to be a part where someone will just jump in and say, how can I help you? And even though we were not of the same racial background, we are not the same, financial background, we were not the same, except we were in the same community and we wanted to help and support each other. And that is something that, aside from, helping in the financial careers and helping in that direction is great. But I think it's wonderful to consider how it is just helping make our community better by serving each other. Anyways, please, that's all my thoughts for this session.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. We have like 1 minute before starting. I want to say something here.
Are you asking me?
I see you changed the slide.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Well, so the support through disaster, I heard so many great stories during the freeze of people reaching out and helping in their community and using those talents that they have helping those around them. There were people whose pipes were breaking and they didn't know how to turn off their water. But if their neighbor did, their neighbor ran over and helped them turn it off so their house didn't flood, or so that things didn't freeze further around them. I think there are so many great things we can do to help in the community and help be part of it. As parents, always trying to make that effort to point out to our children of, this is just what you do. This is how you be a good citizen. And I know when I was younger, when we came across stuff like that, that was the time when my dad took the opportunity, hey, do you want me to show you how to turn the water off on your home? Or do you want me to show you how to do these things? And so I could learn while he was helping others. And so then I could in turn help others later. Sorry. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, the time for the session B, second session, start now for 30 minutes and then 15 minutes for a question and then close. This session, it is a collaboration to select a joint interface service project using Just Service. Yes, go ahead.
All right. So this is Booker T. Washington. He said, those who are happiest do the most for others. And he is a man who was born into slavery. And then at 9 years old, he was freed. So these slaves gained their freedom and they were put into a world that did not want them. And so it would be super easy for him to just start to resent people and to find hatred and to close off into his own group of what he knows. But instead, he decided to get as much education as he could to start doing for others so that those coming behind him in a similar situation could also thrive. And he ended up being an advisor to several presidents of the United States. He ended up being an educator. There is a college or a university that he founded. And he found that over the years, through all this education and pushing forward in life, that those who are happiest do the most for others. And here is that sign of community that I showed earlier. So this word, sorry, my little window is over the top here. Whoops. So this word altruism right here stands for it means the concern or well-being of others, the concern of happiness for others. And I think the last session, we talk a lot about how the benefits that we can gain from service and the things that our community will gain. But we really need to consider that this is a big reason we're doing it is for others. So I know that it was said that I had 10,000 hours of service, right? And Malcolm Gladwell said, he kind of coined this phrase of 10,000 hours of practice makes you an expert, right? Because there was a school that had violin, like the best violin players. And he found that the very best violin player had 10,000 hours of practice by the time they were 20. And that is so much time. The thing I tell my children a lot is the time is going to pass anyways. What are you going to do with it, right? My daughter, it's like she just had this epiphany when she was like, TikTok, that's the sound that the clock makes when you're on TikTok, because time is just passing by. You're not doing or learning anything. You're just passing time. And it seems like such a waste because you can become an expert in so many things. Let's see. So this is one of my favorite quotes. Ronald Reagan said, "You can do anything you want in the world if you are willing to do it for free." This is so true. Like, I wanted to be so many things over the years. And if you're willing to do it for free, you can do it. So I wanted to be a spin instructor. So I did the training and everything, and nowhere was hiring. So I decided to volunteer at the base, and I did spin instruction for a while, and I did soldier PT, and then those volunteer hours turned into an excellent reference for that job I was telling you about earlier. It was those volunteer hours, because I just wanted to do it, that turned into one of the best references I could have and got me a great job. So just be aware, you can do anything you want as long as you're willing to do it for free. And this is the takeaway again, right? So it's about what others can do for you, what you can do for yourself. And now we're focusing here, what you can do for others. Number one, volunteer. That's something that you can do for others that we are going to talk about. But how do you serve in your community? And this is answering a couple of questions you had previously in our session. I'm going to go ahead and jump to my next window and screen share here. So this is justserve.org, and this is what it looks like. You have some different tabs across the top here of different things listed. We are just going to go ahead and watch this video. I don't know if it'll let me play it. There it is. Okay. So we're going to watch this video real fast.
Any sound for the video? No sound?
I'm sorry, did you not hear that video, or did you not hear the sound of
hear
it?
the sound.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, if you go to justserve.org and pull it up on your computer, you'll be able to get the sound. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
So basically, they were just saying this is a place where organizations can post their service opportunities. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to do that. I thought the sound was sharing.
Yes.
So I don't know if you saw the.
If you go to share,
Okay.
all right, and you go to advance. I don't have it. He's not allowing me over here, but I'll go over advance.
Okay.
And go to video. I think would allow. No, you gotta go to the Chrome, Google Chrome, or whatever that browser that you have. It should come, but I don't know if it's gonna share the video.
All right.
No, it's not gonna share the video. It's not gonna share the sound.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So basically, it's just explaining what JustServe was. I don't know if since you didn't have sound, I'm sure you were paying attention to the video portion of it. And in that video, you saw a homeless man. He was receiving a blanket, and he mouthed the word "thank you," right? And we recently had an experience in San Antonio. We were just walking down the street, and a homeless man came up behind me, and he said, "On your right," just so he didn't alarm me, right? Because I was walking a little slower. He said, "On your right," and it scared me, and I jumped. I said, "Oh," and my husband said, "Oh, hey, don't worry about it, man." And he reached out and he grabbed his hand and shook his hand, and he said, "No problem." And this homeless man just looked at Brad and he said, "Thank you so much for shaking my hand." He's like, "It's been a long time." And I think these service opportunities that we can sign up for here and that we can do expose us to different people that we realize they are human too. It has been a long time for him since somebody has extended their hand just to treat him like a human being, right? Okay, so let's get to this. We have on the homepage, this tells a little bit on the about page. It tells a little bit about us, of what Just Serve is. There's 2 videos you can look at later if you want. You find a project, become a volunteer, improve your community. That's it, all right? And so when this says sign up today, you do have to be 13 years old to create an account, and all you need is an email. And that's what it takes to sign up. During the sign up process, there is a section where you can either skip it or you can fill it out. That is your hobbies and interests, your talents, things that you would be interested in doing, right? So that's in the sign up process. There is a disaster recovery tab on this site. When the freeze happened in January, there was one for West Central Texas, is that where we are, that had some different organizations that needed help, that were requesting specific things. So if someone put plumbing as their specialty, they were actually contacted via email, as this place is requesting disaster recovery. And so if you would like to go to that, let's see. So those things that you check when you sign up are going to be important. It can also, here under your edit profile, right? So once you have your information entered, editing your profile right here. Someone asked about like, how do you find one that is good for you, right? So these are the multiple things that categories that you can check that you are interested in or that you have specialty in. I was asked to help teach the Somalian refugees because I was a math minor and I had that kind of experience in education. And so I was the math tutor. So there are also these over here on this side. So that is where you can expand your profile, right? Let's see, one more before we get into the projects, because I have some time here. I want to show you these success stories because I feel like a lot of time as youth, we convince ourselves, oh, we're good, we're doing great. I'm on track. I went to school today. I did everything my parents told me to. I'm just fine. But I think when we see other people our own age, as a teenager, if you see other people your own age doing more and becoming more, you say to yourself, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Do I have time to do that, right? So in this search bar right here, I'm going to put my zip code and I'm going to scroll down because I want the youth who are in on this call to see some of the other youth in their same area. These are people they go to school with. These are people who, as a youth group, they went to the food care center and they packed boxes for lower income or homeless people who needed food, right? And they did it as a group. And this is what they spent their Saturday doing, right? This is what other youth in your area are doing when there are so many things we can do with our time. It's important to, it's important to fill it with the best things because the time will pass no matter what we are doing. So let's make sure we fill it with the best things. When you click on projects, it now brings you to this screen, right? I typed in my zip code on the other screen. So you're at the home page, you type in your zip code and you push project search. So just one more time, I'm going to try that. Here we go. Here's my zip code and I'm going to push search. Here we go. This is how we use the site. So there are 11 opportunities within 15 miles. I don't know why it's saying that because there should be more than that. Why is it only saying 17? Okay, well, actually it's closer to 40. So I don't know why that's coming up like that. Let me try one more time with my zip code. I don't know why it's doing that. I did expand the search. Hang on a second. So, well, I'm going to talk about a couple of these, but sorry, hang on a second. Oh, that's why it's checked, because it said only participate from home. Okay, we're going to search again. All right. So we want to search anything. There we go. 49 opportunities. So there are some COVID-friendly options for volunteering where you can volunteer from home, right? And so one of those, if we scroll down and we click show all, one of those at-home opportunities right here is Ancestry World Archives Project. And 2016, I had some serious health problems, and I was actually in a wheelchair for a couple of years, and I couldn't walk or move around the same way I used to. I could not teach fitness classes. And so I tried to make a difference where I could. And so I actually really got into Ancestry. And what you do with Ancestry is you, at home on your computer, you are cataloging handwritten and old documents, and you're digitizing them. And so you use your computer. They have scanned the archive documents like old, what's the word? Old immigration documentation or Army registration, handwritten things. Then you type it, and so people can search it, and it's digitized information now. So this is labeled ongoing opportunity because you can do it anytime. So anything labeled ongoing opportunity, that doesn't mean it's just at home, which these three are an at-home opportunity, but it just means you can do it anytime you want. So when I click on Ancestry World Archives project, it tells me a little more about it. It tells me how to get started, and I say, that sounds like something I could do. I'm going to check it out, right? And so this is a virtual opportunity, and it redirects me to the organization's website. And right here, I go to the organization's website, and then their volunteer information is going to be up there. So it kind of makes Just Serve seem like a little bit of a middleman, right? Of like, well, why did I have to go to Just Serve just to be redirected to their website? Well, you never would have found out about that World Archives project if you hadn't gone to Just Serve in the first place, right? And so this is a great place where all of the, not all of the projects, where a lot of projects in your area are located. Another one I would like to specifically talk about is this Raising Men Lawn Care Service. So I have quite a few hours with a volunteer with the Boy Scouts of America. It was an unpaid position that I did for several years. Even though I don't have boys, I have girls. I have girls that need good men to marry, right? They need good men to be around. And I want, Boy Scouts of America was organized so that young men in the person that organized Boy Scouts of America saw these young men who were standing around doing nothing, just getting into trouble. Those delinquent activities and deviant thoughts that you were talking about, they were just up to no good. And so he organized the Boy Scouts of America. And it obviously has gotten very big from there, from when it started, but it was created as an organization for boys to have something to do, something productive. This Raising Men Lawn Care Service is not affiliated with Boy Scouts of America, but it is very similar. I really enjoy this one. This one's a great one. So if you know how to mow the lawn, right? You mow 10 lawns for free, and they will send you an orange shirt. And then if you mow 10 more, so you've mowed 20 lawns for free, they will send you a green shirt. Kind of like in karate, where you get a different belt as you advance through your levels of karate, right? They're just doing this. So they want to promote kids ages, hang on a second, I think it was 8 to 17, to mow lawns for free for the elderly, the disabled, single parents, veterans, anyone who needs help in your community. So, and then they will send you these shirts. Once you mow 50 lawns, he actually comes to visit you and brings you a lawnmower and a weed eater, so that you can continue doing it, right? And so it tells you all the information you need to sign up for this project. And you go to this is another one, it will redirect you to the organization's website, right? But you can read about a little bit about it on this one. So on our website, you can read about the 50-yard challenge. The reason I love this one so much is my husband mowed lawns with his dad when he was younger. This was his best memory of something that he would do with his dad. His dad would edge while he mowed. And they did it for all the widows in their ward. And at the time, there were a lot in their area. And so in their neighborhood, Brad and his dad would go out and mow lawns every Saturday. And it ended up over the years being such just a wonderful memory. It helped those widows tremendously, but it also forged a relationship between Brad and his dad that sticks with him today so much that he wants to do it with our son. He says, let's go mow lawns. We're doing this. Let's go. So that's one to check out. Let's see, the week of service. You will notice after I show all. So there is this one that says week of service. If you scroll down a little more, there's this one that says week of service. They look similar, but they have a different picture here on the inside, because underneath it says disabled American veterans. This one's for the Food Care Center. This one's Habitat for Humanity, right? So the National Day of Service is September 11th, and our community is sponsoring a week of service that we would like to promote anyone who would like to join us at these different projects. For example, so this is a one-day opportunity. So this says project. This one that says ongoing opportunity means you can do it anytime. So when you click on one that says project, you will read more about it and find out that it is one day only, right? It is September 11th at 7 a.m. And this is the location. I've already volunteered for it. That's why it says volunteered. But if you click here, it should say volunteer, right? It only says volunteered because I already signed up. So it says they need 3 more people to do it. So that's where I'm going to be Saturday, September 11th at 7 a.m. And so you can sign up for that. Once you click volunteer, then they will send you an email to confirm that you have volunteered and a reminder the day of the service. You don't get spammed a bunch of email or advertisements when you sign up for an account. Someone was asking in the previous session, the question was like, how do we find out what we can do, right? I would suggest if you are a younger kid, this Texas Humane Heroes is something that if you love animals, that's a great place to volunteer. This is a great place to get community service hours for high school graduation. I know for some concentrations here, what do they call it here in Texas? They're like when you track a certain way, you need volunteer hours to graduate, right? This is a great place to go. But during our week of service, it is a one-day project, and they are not requiring the like the background check and all of that stuff, because it's just a one-day event for our week of service. So when you have to be, let's read more here. So it's from 8 to 12. Children 11 and under aren't able to volunteer at this event. Like, so when you're that age, you cannot volunteer at the Texas Humane Heroes, but 12 to 15, they just need a parent with them. And so that is a great place to be. A 16-year-old can even volunteer on their own that day with no background check. You don't have to fill out any papers. There is a release that you sign the day of, but then you get to be hands-on with some of these animals and help with their vaccination clinic. Excellent experience with animals, right? That you might not get otherwise, because I know my children do not get a pet because I don't like having animals in my house. And so that would be their exposure to animals. But my middle daughter does not want to have that kind of experience with animals. She actually was really interested in the Copperas Cove Library, right? Because she likes it to be quiet. She likes order. She likes rules. She loves reading. And so this is a great place for her to volunteer. When you click on this, it is a completely different set of skills that you will learn or that is required to do this volunteer opportunity than to work with the animals. The animals is outdoors, hands-on, talking to people, doing, and Copperas Cove Library, you are indoors, air conditioned, it is quiet. You are required to, keep your voice down, that kind of thing. Basically, you're helping restock books. That's it. And it just is such a fun thing to do. And if you want to check it out, you can be redirected to their website. You can contact Kevin Marsh right here, his information. He's the director at that library. And he is super nice. And all of these people on Just Serve that have the contact here, I deal with directly. And I can tell you they are all more than happy to work with you and to hear from you if you want to reach out directly. Let's see. So when you go to Just Serve and you see, let me pull up one more. So you see their, all right, so you see the check it out, and sometimes you'll be redirected to their website. It is very important, whether you are redirected or not, to click the volunteer button. The reason this is important is because when you go back to the top of the screen, it says Colleen Stake, but it will say your name, right? And then you go to My Dashboard. This is the only tab you won't have because I'm the administrator of this site, but you will have one that says My Dashboard. The reason you want to click the volunteer button, and this is so important, because on your dashboard, it shows things that are coming up, things that you're watching, and things it recommends. When you scroll down, it says, these are things you have done. This is what your high school is going to look for. This is what you can put as a reference on your application, on any sort of school application. When you do the project, it will show up here. You come down and you say, oh, I'm going to up my hours. I had 1 hour on this day, and then you update it, right? And that is how you log your hours. And then once you update it, then it will show a number 1 there. And you can track the hours that you have done. I'm going to change this back to 0 because this is the admin account and this wasn't actually me, but just so you know, that is how you track your hours on this site. And also, when you are volunteering for these things, you're forming relationships with the owner of the organization, and he or she would be more than happy to write a letter of recommendation for you for college applications or for job applications. These are things that are going to weigh heavy. Colleges are not just looking for academically astute children. They are looking for well-rounded community citizens. They want to know that their school is helping to produce those who will will perform in society, and they want their school, their university name to be associated with the best of the best. And I will say those who give service are the best of the best. Let me see, I've got one more. This is, so National Day of Service, but this is what the app icon looks like. You can get the Just Serve app on your phone. It's this heart that's connected around like that. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. And so please take time to look at Just Serve, to pick a project, to realize this does not just benefit those people that you are serving, that will also benefit you. It's wonderful that something for free can have so much impact on your life. And I think that's my time again. Yeah, I think we're to questions. Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Christie. I have a question concerning the current pandemic, coronavirus. Is that limits or decrease the volunteering work or increase it?
Okay, so you would think that that all the COVID stuff has decreased volunteering.
I think so.
But it hasn't. So it is actually, we have gotten a lot more organizations to partner with us. I think there's a couple of reasons. So I think one reason more organizations are willing to speak with us is because they have been closed, because they are no longer busy with in-person things. And so when I call them and say, hey, this is who we are, we want to partner with you, they're like, sure, I've got time. I'll talk to you about it, because they're not overwhelmed busy with people in person, which is a good, bad thing. But so I will say, like organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, they are not accepting volunteers right now. But most of the organizations that need volunteers, I know Red Cross is in dire need of volunteers because of the pandemic. And so not just people to donate blood, but people to help this. So there are, what are they called? It's a blood donor ambassador. And that's something that you can volunteer to be. They are deploying blood donor ambassadors to Louisiana as of yesterday to help with the impending hurricane that is headed their way. And so, volunteers are needed because of natural disaster, because of coronavirus. There are so many things. Basically, people are just encouraged to wear masks and stay safe, but it's needed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Any question? Yes, go ahead.
Actually, maybe two questions. First one, it probably should be easy. Are we limited to the area that we are in? Let's say if it's Bell County, we live in Bell County, we only need to serve in Bell County, or we can just diversify. We go to Bell County, Travis, and all other different counties.
You can serve anywhere. I am just in charge of posting things for the greater Killeen area, some of Gatesville and Lampasas. But yes, if you expand that search to 25 or even 50 miles, you will get some of those service opportunities that reach down to Austin or to Waco. They have so many posted. And it really is, if you're willing to drive or if you're willing to do that, there are a lot of great places. And even if you expand your search, and you can look for their online opportunities, because they might have some online things that are headquartered in their zip code.
And the second question is, there is kind of I just wonder, there is some kind of a mentor or somebody lead you in this organization with Just Serve? Let's say if I'm gonna go for the Cove Hunger or the shelter, animal shelters or whatever, there's somebody taking bunch of group from Just Serve and lead them to there, or I go on my own?
No, so you go on your own. Actually, I think this is a really great thing. So it would be a definite comfort thing to have somebody taking you there and saying, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you serve. But I think this is one of those leadership moments that they are talking about that service will provide for you. Because when you get on there, 13 and up to have an account. So my daughter wanted to do the library. You call the person at the library. This teaches you how to like get out of that comfort zone. And you know that these are safe things that are listed on our website. This is not, I feel like it has been definitely vetted and prepared that you can have your youth reach out to them and not worry. But no, it's you go on your own. Before I actually was a Just Serve representative, I volunteered at the food bank, and all I did was I got on justserve.org and I clicked volunteer and I got the email. I was like, well, I guess I show up. And I did, and he was expecting me. And so it was really great. Yep. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, there is a question from Adam. Adam asking, what project can we do together for Week of Service?
Yeah. Okay. There are so many great opportunities for Week of Service. I do not know where exactly you guys are located, right? So I have already personally signed up for the Food Care Center, which you guys saw as I was going through this. Disabled American veterans, they are looking for help removing some rocks from a drainage system. That's a little more manual labor. I know Habitat for Humanity has a lot of builds, because do you remember there was so much rain the last few months? There's not right now, but a couple months ago, there was just weeks and weeks of rain. Yeah. So there are several homes that are pending for a build that they need service for that. This cemetery cleanup is in Copperas Cove. That's a little more family friendly, where younger kids can go and just do what they can do. I do like this Angels on the Horizon. This is a really fun one that would expose your children to some different, or to your youth, to something different than they're used to. It's a horse ranch that provides rehabilitation therapy for different people needing that. Rehabilitation for, there's like some emotional support rehab that's going on and things like that. But this one, they're just caring for the grounds. You're getting to know the organization by going there, building fences, pasture work, cleanup. It's a one-day event. Keep Nolanville beautiful. If you're closer to the Harker Heights, Nolanville area, they are just cleaning up at the river, which is at Levi Crossing, which is a really great place. And it helps your youth to take pride in their surroundings and just realize, well, if I don't pick up that garbage, who's going to, right? Also, there's a Keep Gatesville Beautiful. This one, the entire city of Gatesville is involved in this one, and they'll be meeting at the city center, and there's a whole presentation, and then they're doing a cleanup of the downtown area. So I don't know, what else do you want to hear about the Week of Service? If you guys want to pick one, or
He's still asking Adam, saying we should go to the Cove cemetery and clean up.
All right, so if you want to do this project, as it's labeled, because it's a one-day event, I would personally heart it just so that it shows up in your favorited things, right? So you click on the heart, but then, so you click on the icon and it brings you to this screen. It says the Cemetery Cove could use a little love and attention. And as you read more, be sure to wear gloves, masks not required because it's outside, right? They will provide garbage bags. If you have any gardening tools, please bring them. Adult participants could bring a grass whip or a lawnmower if you have one. All right, and here's your point of contact. You can email him with questions. Jerry Wood is actually the person in Copperas Cove that's over the cemetery division. And so that works at the Texas government office.
Okay.
But here's a phone number and email of Leo Alejos. who you could ask any questions to. When you go, so group volunteering allowed, if your entire group is interested, you can call him directly, or you click check it out. So including, it shows the location of the cemetery right here on the map, including yourself, how many are in your group. And this is where you change the number. So I usually put 5 because there's 5 of us in our family. And then do you want to allow this organization to contact you directly? You don't need to, but you can click that if you want, right? And then you click volunteer. Thank you for volunteering. We look forward to seeing you the day of the project. And that's all you have to do. So down here, the instructions are meet at the gazebo for assignments. That is it. That is all you have to do. I'm actually going to click unvolunteer because like busy that day, but somebody has their mic on. But so right here, it has the address. You have volunteered. It will now show up on your dashboard as something you can track the hours. Okay, so when you go to your dashboard, this project will be on there because you clicked volunteer. You can print the confirmation that will give you the address and the contact person. And this is one of those things, you just show up 8 a.m. at Coppers Cove Cemetery. And if you guys want to do it as a group, that's great.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, we have a few minutes before closing, like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Questions, or Mrs. Christie can continue.
Oh, I could talk forever about this, couldn't I? All right. I think as youth, sometimes we wonder, what is everyone else doing, right? Sometimes we get lost in that digital virtual world and we see what other people are posting on TikTok or on Instagram. We see these things and we just think, oh, that's some influencer somewhere else and they're just doing their own thing. And there's just this emotional disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to take time to look at those success stories and to see what others around you are doing. People are getting out there. People are serving. They are building community bonds and also their resume. And when you go to compete for that position, that job, that application, you're going to be competing with people who have been serving since they were young. So this was something I didn't realize I was doing it at the time, but I had a lot of volunteer hours that padded my resumes over the years. But what now? That's kind of where we're left. We want to be a part of the community.
Yeah.
Back to that original slide that I showed you guys. I think I listed it one more time.
I guess you want to talk more about how fun it is. It sounds like this picture, what now, is fun. So probably it's a fun time, right?
It is. You make friendships, you do fun things, you laugh. And so what they're doing here is they're actually washing walls. They're washing the walls of their school. That does not sound like something you would want to do on a Saturday, but these people are legitimately laughing and having fun because they're there together. There is not an emotional disconnect. They're getting to know the people in their community and they're having a great time. And that's also something that we want for our children. We don't want them to be disconnected or just sitting at home alone. We want them to be out there. If you are concerned about different health things, throw on a mask and get out there. Get out there and serve. It is a great time. I know there's one girl that comes with us a lot to the food care center, and we went one time without her, and she's like, how come you didn't call me? And I was like, well, we didn't need you. We didn't need you this time. we only needed 6 people. And she's like, well, I always have so much fun. You should just call me. I went, okay, I'll call you next time. So it gets to be something that's really enjoyable.
Yeah. I think we reached to the end. I have to thank everybody. The first thanking should go to Mrs. Christy Young. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your organization, your information. Thank you for everybody. Next event will be the last Sunday at September. It will be a different program. Will serve also intellectual security, safety for the youth. Just you need to visit justserve.org, justserve.org to sign up and choose a project you like to serve yourself, serve your society, serve your community, serve humanity. Thank you again for everybody. God bless you all. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye, Imam.
Bye.
Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. I'll call you a little bit later
Okay.
on
Thank you.
this week. Okay, bye.
Thank you.